Welcome back to Fast Market, everyone. Kevin Hinks back here for our second segment of the show. And our theme today, digital ad spend. Joe Mazzola is here with us. He's the director of trader education at Charles Schwab. But I'd now like to bring in our guest for this segment, Mr. Andy Swan. He is the co-founder of LikeFolio.com. He's on, or someone from his company is on every day. We appreciate that, bringing us data from different social media accounts. Andy, we have, our theme today, digital ad spend. What is LikeFolio seeing? Because, I mean, this is an enormously important topic for a bunch of enormously large companies. And Andy, here's what I wanted to ask you to start your presentation. Digital ad spend. We all know that the numbers are coming down, but is it a flight to quality in terms of digital ad spend, where the good companies are doing better, the smaller companies are doing worse, or is it just across the board, Andy?
Yeah, I think it really is a flight to quality. And one of the things, at LikeFolio that we can track that I think is very interesting, very telling of digital ad spend, dollar flows, and importantly, where those dollars might flow into the future, is watching where consumers are talking about actually making purchasing decisions. So if we look at the month-over-month change of Instagram versus TikTok versus Facebook and Snapchat, we really see a large divergence, a divergent story in where customers are making these purchasing decisions. And of course, companies are going to put their money into the platforms where customers are making direct purchasing decisions or even shopping directly with the company inside of that platform. When marketing budgets start to get cut, the first thing you look at is what's working and what's not. You get rid of what's not working and double down on what is working. It's kind of marketing 101. But the way that we see it right now is, that Snapchat performance being negative month over month. And remember, this is a company that already disappointed investors with digital ad spend inside of their platform. I think that that's a trend that's going to continue. And a lot of companies are going to be moving those ad dollars, or at least not removing them from Instagram, Facebook, and especially TikTok. And another thing, I want to point out, it's really, convenient or smart of you guys to highlight this topic today. I think your audience is well served by it, because we're looking at, when we look at the investor importance. So this is investors talking about digital ad spend as a concern of theirs as they make decisions into whether or not to invest in a specific company. We have seen that grow consistently year over year, near all-time highs. And what that tells me is Wall Street is very much paying attention to this segment in a really striking way, and will continue to do so. We think this is going to be one of the most applicable metrics going forward for investors, for growth outlooks for many of these companies. And so far, I think, the big takeaway here is what you mentioned earlier, a flight to quality. It is, Snapchat was a cool place to advertise, to kind of build your brand. But, Instagram and TikTok, that's where people are making actual purchase decisions and getting and delivering revenue to these companies. So I think they will be the beneficiaries of marketing budgets going forward.
Andy, I look at that graphic there with the month-over-month change, Instagram, TikTok, and I think about this idea of the importance of the social influencer. How has that changed the dynamic of some of these purchase decisions?
Oh, it is enormous. I think that on Instagram and TikTok, people have an ability to create what they consider a relationship with they call them influencers, some popular accounts, and you feel like you have a relationship with the person. Over time, you feel like you can trust their opinion, and so when they do help to advertise a product or show a way to make a purchase with a company, you're much more likely to listen. Whereas something like a Snapchat, a lot of the time, is just simply a company throwing an ad into the experience, into your way as you're communicating with your friends. And that just seems far less likely to be successful. And it's something that we're seeing play out in the data on a pretty consistent basis.
You know, Andy, when LikeFolio's data is its strongest, is when you point out a discussion topic or a fact that is counterintuitive to what the general discussion is. And I think your month-over-month change that shows the strength of Instagram. Remember, Instagram is owned by Facebook Meta, right? Yep. So that's part of them. So Meta's been beat up over the last several months because of the Apple iOS privacy news and all that fallout. Yet you look and Instagram seems to be delivering on that. Now, this is still rough news for Snap, but it's actually really good news for Meta, as they're the leader in this chart you have up there. Are people that are discounting Meta because of ad spend getting this wrong because they're forgetting about Instagram?
Yeah, I can't say they're forgetting about Instagram. It's kind of hard to forget about Instagram when I think that is the lifeline that kind of saved Facebook overall. The greatest, one of the greatest acquisitions in history, I think, to get Instagram for $1 billion, which at the time people were laughing at, but it really turned out to be a huge driver of growth for Facebook or for Meta. But yeah, I think there is a tendency when a company like Snapchat comes along and says, hey, ad spend is way down, we've got problems, nobody's advertising. There's a tendency to kind of just lump all of these companies together and throw them out together. I do think that there is, some constriction in marketing budgets that will affect all of these companies. But you have to be able to separate the better from the bad. And so I think Instagram is clearly one of the better. They're all facing huge competition from TikTok, which is taking eyeballs away and screen time away from all of them. So that's tough. But in terms of, should everybody be concerned at an equal rate just because Snapchat said something? I really don't think so. I think there are better options, and there are companies that are executing on this better. And, whether we like to admit it or not, Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook have been really good at that over the last couple of decades, despite some hiccups and some snafus.
Yeah, Andy, LikeFolio's data adds so much to the discussion that we're having here today. We appreciate having you on, as always, and we appreciate you, Andy, coming on a Friday to spend some time with us. That is Andy Swan, the co-founder of LikeFolio.com. Have a great day, Andy.
Thanks. Happy weekend.
All right, Joe.